Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk a little bit about binge eating in general. Obviously, if you have like a binge eating disorder, it's disrupting your life. If you have binge eating and it's really disrupting your life, you're binge eating out of control at least twice a week, eating more than a normal person would in a shorter period of time than a normal person would, I highly recommend you go get yourself a counselor and you deal with your personal reasons why you are binging with a professional, of course, a counselor, a dietitian who has experience dealing with binge eating. Go see them 100%. But short tips here, things that I'm going to recommend. First and foremost, what I really want to say is if you are struggling with binge eating, it is not your fault. You are not a failure. And there's so much more to it than just the fact that you don't have willpower to stop eating. Eating in response to emotions is a couple of things. First of all, it's a habit. It is a habit that you have created over X number of years. It's ingrained. It's an automated response that you essentially have very little control over until you deal with the cues and the triggers, and I'll go on to that in a little bit. But secondly, it is a physiologically reinforced behavior. So you're doing the behavior of overeating, of binge eating, and your body's throwing a bunch of dopamine and serotonin and it's calming you down. It actually, if you're eating a lot of sugar, you're literally reducing the amount of cortisol from the stress that you're experiencing. Like, eating in response to emotions does tremendous things physiologically that reinforces that behavior and makes it a lot easier to go back to that behavior later on, over and over again. So what can you do? You know, where do you come in and where do you regain autonomy in your behavior of eating? And I think part of it is looking at your life and deciding, first of all, very simplistically looking at your life and automatically saying, are you happy or are you not happy? And then the harder part is you take a piece of paper, sit down and write, you know, if you're not happy, right? I'm not happy. Why? And list down every single thing off the top of your head. Just write it down. You can burn the paper when you're done. You don't have to tell anybody in your life that you're thinking these thoughts, feeling these things, but I want you to know for yourself, why are you not happy? What is it? What are you lacking? What are you missing? And then that's the second part of this, is write down what is it that will help you feel better? What is it that maybe you've always wanted to write books, but you haven't because of X, Y, and Z in your life and you've never done it. Okay, then break down the steps. What can you do to start doing that? Start writing 500 words a day. Take 10 minutes and say, I'm going to write for this 10 minutes every single day for 30 days and see what happens. Maybe you'll get a book. Who knows? Yes, you can write a book in 30 days. It's called NaNoWriMo. Anyway, so other things, maybe you want to write, maybe you're in the wrong profession, maybe you want to go back to school, or any kind of thing. You know, there's so many things in your life that you're possibly not doing. I can't answer that. You can answer that. You know what you're not doing. You know what's making you unhappy, and you know what's got to have to change. But what makes it hard in our life sometimes is we don't want to face what we want to change because we're scared of change. We're scared that, you know, if we do this, we'll lose this, and maybe that's our comfort zone and we don't want to get out of our comfort zone. But in order to be truly happy in life, sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone to find your comfort zone, and that's just the way it is. So that's one step. The next step is you need to, I'm readjusting myself because I'm really short in the camera. Sometimes the next step, right? So we've talked about life and everything, your perspective of yourself too. Do you have a lot of self-efficacy? Which means, do you believe in yourself? Do you believe that you have control over your life? That's autonomy. Do you believe that you can do things in your life that you want to do? Do you feel like you're capable of doing things in your life? Do you feel confident in yourself? Those are other things to work on. You know, what is it? What's lacking in your confidence? Why do you feel, maybe you feel like a failure? Why? And then the next thing you can do is there's ways to build up your self-confidence, your self-efficacy, and basically it's giving yourself little tiny projects that you essentially you can do them, and then do them and cross them off of a list, make it visible somehow, and you will slowly build up your confidence. Which, like, if you want to go to the gym, you must, or maybe not the gym, especially not now. Don't recommend working out in a mask. Anyway, like if you want to work out, get off the couch, do 5 push-ups, and you've worked out. It may not be much. It ain't going to build any muscle immediately, but it's a step, and it's a step you can write on a piece of paper. I want to do 5 push-ups. Get up, do 5 push-ups, you cross it off. There is something crazy in our brain chemistry that happens where it's like you did something, you've done it, congratulations. And that's what you need to do to build up your self-confidence and your abilities. This whole thing that I'm talking about here is with binge eating is I'm taking a step back from the eating. We're not going to talk about the eating. We're not going to talk about diet immediately. It's more of building up your self-confidence, building up your happiness in life, finding things to be positive about, finding things to be grateful about. So maybe starting to do a gratitude process every day where you just say one sentence of, I'm grateful the sky is blue. Maybe today you're grateful the sky is blue, and that's it. That's all it needs to be. You're noticing something positive in your life every day that helps build a habit of positivity, which brings me to my next more complicated part, and this does have to do with the eating behavior, is habits, habit formation, and habit stacking. When you eat in response to an emotion, you have formed a habit, and that habit is whenever I feel stressed, I eat. And you will find that you're reaching for a candy bar and eating it, and then you're going, what the hell happened? Where did that candy bar come from? Why did I do that? I didn't even taste it. It was a habit. You've built the habit to eat when you feel stressed. So now what? Now you feel stressed. First of all, you're aware that you're stressed. It takes the mindfulness of your thoughts and your feelings. You feel it physically. You know you're stressed. Then you need to break it. You need a habit breaker, is what I call them. And habit breakers are best when they are something tangible to the senses, whether you can feel it, you can see it, you can touch it, you can smell it. Seeing it is kind of passive. I wouldn't really go that far. I wouldn't cue yourself with sight, because like if you say I'm going to put up this picture of a palm tree and every time I'm stressed I look at it, eventually you're not going to see the palm tree anymore, and it's not going to be a cue for anything. Because our brains we get so used to our environment that we don't see things. Like that's why if there's a crack in the wall, you see it and then 3 months go by and you've forgotten about it because you've gotten so used to it you don't even see it. But like a scent, take like a lotion. Bath and Body Works has some great stress relief lotions. If you don't like those scents, you pick a scent that you like of a different lotion, you slather it on your hands and take a break. Take a moment, breathe. It's okay. It's okay to stop. That's the other thing I find is, for myself personally, when I was stress eating, I felt guilty stopping doing what I was doing, even though it was stressing me out, even though I was overwhelmed. And the reason why I ate was because I couldn't handle it anymore. I needed a break. The only reason I felt okay taking a break to eat was because I was eating, which is something that everybody does and they have to do. Whereas, stopping to play a game on your phone for 5 minutes is a little more frowned upon than eating, which is nourishing your body. Except the foods you're eating aren't nourishing your body. But, so first of all, the habit breaker, something physical, jumping jacks, 5 squats, breathing, taking 5 deep breaths, letting them out slowly. The physical things like that physiologically change your chemistry, calm your chemicals, and make it easier for you to say, okay, what I want to do is stress eat, and ultimately in the long run that's not what I want because I don't like what it does, how it feels, I don't like the weight, etc. Now what? Now you need a new habit. You need a habit replacement, something that feels good, something that feels almost as good as eating itself. So those things are what I recommend: playing a game on your phone for 5 minutes and being okay with it. watching a funny video, because laughter is another thing that will change your chemistry hormones and make you feel better. Chemistry hormones, I don't know what that is, but whatever. Those kinds of things, finding a new activity. One thing I did for a period of time was I had like this bouncy, I think it was a racquetball ball, and I closed the door of my office and I just threw it against the wall for a few minutes just to get my mind off of everything that was bothering me and upsetting me, and I just threw the ball and calmed down. So put on a podcast or something, a funny video, and throwing the ball, really stimulating the senses. Those kinds of things, instead of eating, they give you the break that you need, they change your body chemistry that you need, and then you get back to doing what you were doing. Do the work, do the thing that's stressing you out, deal with the emotion at hand, resolve whatever's causing that emotion, and move on with your life. That is how you work towards breaking binge eating. And it takes time, very, very long time, because it's a habit that's been ingrained for a very long time. Like I said, it's a self-reinforcing habit. So if you slip up, you're going to want to do it again. But if you slip up, don't beat yourself up about it, because it's natural to want to eat because it's easy and it tastes good. Makes you feel good, of course. So you just got to keep trying. And I recommend a habit tracker too. So creating some kind of chart for at least 30 days, tracking the amount of days that you went without binge eating. Then if you do have a day where you binge eat, use a different symbol. Like if you use a check mark, use an X. You binge ate that day. Okay, move on. Try again the next day. You just keep going. And eventually, the new habit will become the automated habit. You won't even think about eating when you feel that emotion. Eventually. You got to work towards it. And again, being mindful of your thoughts, being mindful of your emotions and what you really need in life, having a passion, doing things such as physical activity on a regular basis, or I recommend both, but if you can only pick one, meditating. I recommend the Headspace app. I think it's a very, very good app. Very good meditations. They're 10 minutes or 20 minutes. I think there's some 15 minutes. There's like mini meditations. Like if you're really frazzled, you can do a 1 to 3 minute meditation, like all kinds of stuff. But what meditating does is it helps you change your neural pathways, so that rewiring is what it's called, rewiring your neural pathways, so that it's easier to be mindful and aware of what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and what you need. It helps calm any ruminating thoughts. Ruminating thoughts are where you're like, okay, I overate, I had 500 calories, now I can have 600 calories, and I like, okay, so I had the 500 calories, and I probably should eat, X, Y, and Z, and you're thinking about food like all day long, and you're thinking about how you're gonna problem solve, this food, and you keep coming back to going this way and that way, and you never really come up with a problem. You just get more worked up about it and worried about it. That's what ruminating is, ultimately. And ruminating is very highly linked to binge eating. So finding a way to calm your thoughts, focusing only on what's really important, what really matters, and what's really going to result in a change. That's what's important, and that's what meditation helps. Physical activity helps keep your hormones more level, so it's easier to handle stressful challenges, upsetting emotions, and finding ways to accept that you're feeling whatever the emotion is. Accept it. Don't try to run from it. Binge eating is an escapism behavior. So sitting with that emotion, finding a way to accept the emotion, and dealing with the emotion. Ultimately, those are the things, that's the hard work you have to put in place to help end your binge eating behavior. I think that's a good enough ramble rant for today. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe. If you are new, leave any comments. I would love to hear from you. If you found this helpful, if you have any more questions, please let me know, and I will see you on the next one.